Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
See a lot of volatility and position taking from the institutional investors. And then keep in mind on Friday is non-farm payroll report, which is probably one of the biggest red folder events of the month that I always pay attention to and usually try and stay away from. But we have several red folders, some Aussie. We have something today all day, the OPEC's meeting today. So that's going to affect all the currency pairs. Anything that has to do with oil, which is about everybody. 10 o'clock, we have some manufacturing reports for the U.S. And at 11 o'clock, we have some Governor Bailey of the Bank of England speaks. So keep all that in mind. Just be careful. It's early in the week, early in the month. Don't be too big of a hurry to take any trades or get into any trades. Our heat map, where's our heat map? Where's our heat map? Right here. Here's the heat map, and we're looking to see right now, we've seen that the Canadian dollar seems to be strongest on all currency timeframes. And the British pound seems to be weak, the Aussie's weak, Euro's weak. Initially, we're looking basically the bottom three and the top three is what I'm looking pretty much. Euro, Aussie, British weak. I can throw the New Zealand in there for the 30-minute chart. So, but basically, we're looking strength of the Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, and the U.S. dollar is relatively strong on the higher time frames. And let's see what else can we do here. Let's go to the arrow reports and see what we have. So we are now at the 7:30. Should have had some 15-minute reports. U.S. CAD. Looking at that. Looks like we did no bounce yet. There was a bounce arrow earlier this morning. That was at around the, it was probably right around 4 o'clock this morning. So that was, we're well past that. We have double arrow, down arrow with a little pullback on this one. So we're going to look and see where our moving averages are. Again, remember looking to the trade to the strength of the, this is New Zealand kitten USD. I got the wrong one here. I keep grabbing the wrong one for some reason. US. No, it was the US New Zealand. That's the one it was. It wasn't the CAD. We were right the first time. Okay, so we're looking at get the moving averages up. Load the template with all of our moving averages. See where we are with the 15-minute time frame. Looks like the 200 moving average is going kind of flat. Everything is now below it. We are in the right direction with a little bit of a pullback. I would be looking at this range right in here. This was yesterday's high, yesterday's low. Keep in mind that yesterday was a holiday for the U.S. and all the, as a banking holiday for British and the U.S. And so, but we're going to be looking at this range from yesterday's in the overnight high. We do have a little bit of a trend line coming from this was Sunday night. This was Monday. Actually, this is Friday's right here. This is Friday's range. And actually, we're still inside the range that we had on Friday, well within that range. here's a pivot high, here's a pivot low. Excuse me. I'm going to draw a fib line of our fib zones from Friday's high and low. Put that right about in there. Here's the upper 25%. I'm going to take this from this is today's activity. The overnight. That's a nice little move overnight, but right now it's still inside this range. Basically, when it's going, when you have two highs and have a high and a low on either side of where the price is right now, I look at that. That's the range that it's going sideways in. To keep things nice and simple. So right now we're going sideways inside these blue rectangular boxes. And we're kind of right in the middle of it. We're going to mark our middle zones, which is the 6150 and 38.2% of the Fibonacci retracements. Mark these zones right there like that. For all you newcomers that haven't seen me do this before or trying to understand it. And these are going to be our target zones to the downside. You can see it came up to upper 25, came back out, pulled back up. Now it's starting to make some basically some trending. It's actually trending inside this range. They broke this pivot here on this down move, came back up, broke the 61% line, came back up, broke the 50, came back up, retested the 61. We may have one other down move on this one. So I'm going to go to a lower time frame and see what we have here. Let's see, I'm going to take the fib lines off and redraw the fibs. And now I'm going to be looking at the Fibonacci lines from here to here, retracement back up. And you can see that's probably going to be a pretty close to a 50% retracement on that first wave. This is the high. Here's the first break. It broke this little pivot area down here, broke it, came back up, retested this area. And that was a 50% retracement, almost to the, came right up and retested not only the 50% range, but also the 200 moving average. Made a new low. Now we're into a green zone. There's really no trade here right at the moment, but we're going to draw them out here and just see how much momentum we have to the downside. And right now, so first move up came about 50%. The total move right now came back up to the, that's the 38.2. But now we have a little wick right now. Now the question is there enough room to take a trade from this point down to here? We only have 8 pips. I like to see 15, plus we have a level on the level. I'm not real anxious to take this trade. Looks like this may already be working its way past the point where it could start getting a little bit more volatile and could whipsaw you a little bit more. The moving averages are in the right direction, but now on the 5-minute chart, you can see that the green 5-period exponential moving average crossed over the yellow. That signifies it's kind of going, it's starting to maybe find a little bit more reversal. This is the first time it crossed, but this is a strong move down. And we're just going to keep an eye on it. New Zealand USD, check our charts, see what the strength is. Here's a USD, New Zealand, USD. Actually, the USD is stronger to the New Zealand. New Zealand is actually fairly weak on the higher time frames, on the 1 hour, the 30, and the 15. So we do want to trade this to the strength of the New Zealand dollar, which is to the short side. Actually, take that back. Yes, that would be because the dollar would be stronger here. This is showing the pullback, still showing dollar strength. And let's get back to my charts here. Something I don't like is I don't like the fact we have this heavy green zone right here. If it can break, even if we got in right at this area, I'd like to see at least a 15 pip pullback, which would take us all the way back up to pretty much the 200 moving average. I do like this pivot here. We do have a little bit of a trend developing. And I'm just not in a big hurry to take this one. I don't like this bounce here. I just don't like the range we have to work with. Look at a 15-minute here. We are hanging below the 200 moving average, but we don't have the complete crossover. Like over on this side right here, we have this big move up. Everything is in the right direction. The green, the yellow, the blue. Here's our 62 exponential, and then everything is above. Came back, tested it. But right now, it's still kind of struggling to get everything, all the other moving averages below this 200 exponential. I'd like to see a little bit more room on that. So right now I'm be looking at this thing's just kind of going sideways. We did have a nice little break off of this trend line from the bottom, way over here. This is Friday's low. And over here was this was the anchor. Here's the hit. Here's the first breach. Tested it, pulled back. Tested it, broke it. You have a little bit of a head fake in here, back into the wedge. Here's where it really broke, right on this arrow coming down. But right now the move looks like it may be well over. Now we're looking for possibly a possible reversal and look and see where the overall trend is. And we'll see that we are in a relatively in an uptrend. We've got more green than we do red. So we are looking at uptrend. We can maybe see if we can get a bounce off of this green zone, which I think we did. If we can get an up arrow, she's got to come down a little bit further still. We don't have to bounce off of this, but we can come in there and get a bounce with the up arrow, then that would be the trade to maybe take to the upside. So we'll just keep an eye on this one. Any questions so far?
No, doesn't seem to be.
Everybody's still kind of waking up from the holiday. At least I know I am. And let's see anything else going on here with the US Swiss. Take a look. That's a 5 minute. Let's see. Let's take a look at our German 30. Anything there? I did preload this German 30 here. Somewhere. There it is. This thing is just going, this still making new highs the way it looks to me. You go into a daily chart, you can see there really hasn't been anything higher. Maybe earlier on, months ago. You're right now it's making all new all-time highs from what I'm seeing. At least only going back all the way to 2005, it hasn't been up this high. So I would say be looking at mostly buying the pullbacks to see until it finally turns and breaks. You don't know where this thing's going to stop.
All the indices seem to be doing that. I woke up this morning and the SPX, the NASDAQ, it seems like they're all going sky high.
Let's take a look at gold. While I know someone's going to ask about gold. Might as well look at it now. While
might as well check it out.
It seems like it's breaking the $1,900 mark. Again, that's about what it was doing last summer around this time. That's when it started making new highs. It got all the way up to around 2,100, I think, last summer. So this thing's making new highs. Let's go into a higher time frame. We got our moving averages in here. See what's the range on this from zone to zone. It looks like it's the $11 range. About $11 range. It has the range right now. Now the question, we don't know what the direction is. We did have a nice pullback, bounced off the 200. And now still struggling. All the prices are still below. So this thing could still keep on consolidating base a little bit more before it breaks to the upside. We do have a nice little trend coming down here. This is from the overnight high. There's a London session, drove it on up a little bit. There's our trend line. Started to get a little bit of a break, but here's the anchor. Here's the first near hit. Here's the hit. Here's the break. That could have a break, retest the trend line, and then go back higher. But we have all these moving averages are all sitting here consolidating. So right now I'm looking at it's going to have to get through this little point right up in here, this little zone. And this little zone right here, we have to be aware of. Because the sellers did come in, sellers came down, buyers pushed it back up, sellers took over control, retested, buyers pushed it back up again. So right now it's sort of range bound into this area. It would have to break through this green zone here before I would take it short. I have to break through this area before I take it long. If it breaks through here, you would have, you'd only be getting about $3.50 worth of move on that one. And if it breaks through this zone, let's see if there's what we have below here, anything. Yeah, this would be more to the downside here. If it can break through that, you have lots of room to the downside. Here's some of our Fibonacci lines, which we drew from last week. So these would be the target zones, but it's got to get through this area. These are the zones. It did break through. This was the upper 20. These were the zones I had back on Friday. It did break through it on yesterday to the upside. And it seems like it's making some new highs there. Let's go to a 4-hour chart, see what that has. I think if you look and see where, if you go back several weeks, you can see this is where it was last year. This was in August, it looks like. July and August, it started its move. This was back in March. Here it was June, probably May, June. This was where it was, relatively speaking, from last year at this time. This is a year down the road. And it's making a new high, relatively speaking. So this could be where it could be launching to the upside again, like it did last year. I say this is the area to be looking for this area right in here for a possible continued retest. It hit it once, went back up, came back into the zone, it's going back up again. Have a little zone here. It could very well come up and retest this area. Let me go and redraw this. And we have this is the range. This is pretty, we're talking swing trade here. You can see right now, this 50% line is where 50 to 61, this little zone right in here seems to be the place where it likes to find its equilibrium. But here's the upper 25. We're going to call that over here. This is our major zone that we're looking at there. These are our fib lines. And then the lower 25%. And that's the range we're playing in with the gold. It's coming up into the supply zones. Could expect to look for a turnaround. We do have a break right now of the trend line. Here's the high. Here's the hit. And about there, I think is about where that wick is. So here's the trend line break coming up into this, but it's coming right up into this zone right up in here. So be careful with it. That's my assessment on gold right now. Questions?
I'm just going through the charts here to see if I can see anything. I haven't been getting any alerts yet this morning.
Let me see if there's any arrow alerts or iris alerts here. This was at 6:30, a descending wedge on Aussie USD. Let's take a look at that one. These all come in on the 15-minute chart. And the Aussie is weak to the US dollars, but not by a lot. So, plus we have, right now we're really range bound with the zones here. I don't really like this one too well. Here's a range. It's only a 25 pip range that it's ranging in on a 15-minute chart. There's not a lot of room. There's not enough room to be taken to trade, in my opinion. Stay away from that. Wait for it to, it had a nice little consolidation. It's just been going sideways. Yesterday's move wasn't much. That could have been holiday related a little bit with the US dollar. And so we're just going to pass on that. Nothing there that I like. Let's see, how's our USD? This one looks like it had a little down arrow. Where's the first down arrow, second arrow on this one? This is one we looked at earlier. We drew it out. We have 6 pips to the target zone. Again, I'm going to give it a little bit more room than breathing room before on early this week. Let everything stabilize. Let's see. How about the Swiss franc? Anything with the Swiss here? Swiss, British Swiss, maybe. Anything developing there? And why doesn't that come up? Put this on a 15-minute chart. I like to look and starting with the 15-minute chart. Gives me a nice baseline. Usually has enough movement. 53 pips in between the zone. And let's see what our range is. Let's see where our moving averages are. Everything's pointing down. There's a nice little cross here. These are still above the 200, our arrow moving average and our 62 exponential moving average. They're still above. And right now I'd be looking to see what the overall trend is. The 200 moving average isn't really giving us a good indication of trend other than this move right here. So, and we have more green than red. I'll be looking for a bounce off of that to retest maybe this moving average, which would still give us our 15 pip range. And let's see, this was Friday, I believe the 28th. This is Sunday, Monday move. Here's Tuesday. We have an upper channel here. Here's an anchor. Here's the breach, first breach. Here's another retracement off of this area. Right to there. And we have the down move. Let's see what it looks like on a lower time frame. Again, I don't like having to try and take it short going through when you have a double layer. Here's a level on a level. You have a double level. I mean, they could break, but I don't like, it looks like it's going to have to take a little work to get there. There's alert Aussies, New Zealand on a 1 minute. Aussie, New Zealand, that's this one right here. Move this one over. Right now we're just basically hunting. We're hunting for trades. We don't want to take a stab at something that's not quite right. Let's look at a little bit higher time frame. 15 minutes. We've got the moving averages. That's already drawn in. We should have our zone set up. Maybe not. I'm going to take it from this zone to this zone on the 15-minute chart. Nice. We have enough room here for a range. That's a 47. I'd like to see at least 50 pip move in between before I draw these things. Here's a 61 right there. Just redraw these. Here's a 38. Here's a 50. And then we have, right now we're in the upper 25%. So we don't want to be taking anything unless it breaks out of the top. And then we have to look and see where that target would be. There's today's range. You see, if you were trading the arrow overnight sessions, here's where the money zone starts, right where that blue vertical line is. But you can see that over the overnight, before it even got to the money zone. Let's see, let's make sure that's right. I think that's right. Yeah, that'd be about right. You can see that it pretty much, the range was pretty high between here's the highest wick, came back down. It hasn't really broken out of this money zone range yet from the overnight high and overnight low. It's still sort of stuck in that point. Now, if it does break out the top, we had a nice move up, strong move up, which is where we drew our Fibonacci line. But right now it's still kind of inside the range. And the question is it going to break out the top? And if it does, look at our higher time frame and see what it may look like. You see it hit this range right here. We hit once, two, three times. Actually, more than that because there are a couple other little tries. Pull back, test it, pull back, test it, pull back, test it, pull back, test it. This is a pretty strong range. And if you look over here to the left, you can see that we have strong move down, came back. So right now it needs to break through these little wicks right in here, which is right about where this zone is. Looks like there are going to be some sellers in this range right in here. And if you draw a line across, if you put your cursor across, you can see where there's a little bit of, it's got to get through that. And it may come up, but right now it's going to be looking at this target. Here's the 200 moving average coming down. Here's the 38. I don't know if there's enough room for the breakout or not. There's 20 pips there. There's room for the breakout. Aussie, New Zealand. Let's see where that is on the Aussie stronger to New Zealand. New Zealand's still weak, so we're looking at this thing to a possible to the upside. Let's take a look at this on the lower time frame. All the moving averages are okay on the 5-minute chart. I'd say if it can break through the top of this, we may have a shot at the higher time frame zone of the overshoot area of this area right up in here, this 38. I would say at least halfway in between. Let's see where this zone is. Let me draw a line on this top of this wick. Because once it breaks here, it's got this whole room all the way up to the top. This thing could go quite a ways actually to the upside if it can break out of this region right here. There's the arrow moving average. This is on a 4-hour chart. Let's go to a lower time frame, see where it's at. I like the strength of it. I just want to see it get through this little range out here. Let's see it break through the top of this. It's tried this several times. It's getting a little bit, getting higher closes. Here's a high close right here, a little bit higher close here, a little bit higher close here. It looks like on a 1-minute chart. Strong, little, nice big wick here that's getting rejected right here off of this little zone. It's kind of stuck in between this little layer right in here, this little upper 25. This is basically it's only 11 pips. And it's coming in right at the top of that and starting to get a little bit of, take a little bit of heat. Let's see. And that would be to the upside. The Aussie is a little bit stronger to the New Zealand. I like it better to the long side, but it's got to break through that area. Well, I want to make a mention too, is anybody that sent me a request for the PIP calculator, if you did not get it, send me a message again, because I sent it out, all the ones that I saw, I send it out to anybody that, if you didn't get it, it's because it got lost in the shuffle somehow. So if you didn't get it, you should have gotten an email yesterday afternoon. You should have gotten it. So just a little message there. I don't want to miss anybody. Let's see. Here's a couple alerts here. Euro. Oh, there's go. Let's
Yeah, I'm
see this
looking
one.
through them. There's,
What's that?
I said, I'm just looking through them. The only one that really, in my opinion, is worth looking at is the Euro Swiss.
That's the one I just pulled that one up here actually.
Oh, there you go.
Great minds think
It's
alike.
not a true bag, but
Let's get the moving averages up here.
you got your 200 in the way, but it's worth looking at anyways.
Template. There we go. That's what I'm looking for here. Yep, the 200's in the way. Everything is pretty much going in the right direction, but not quite. It's not. It's still. It's sort of kind of trying to break out, but it's. I would expect to bounce off of here. Here's yesterday's high. It made a new high from yesterday's high. As it made a new low, I would expect to maybe retest the low at some point. We do have a little bit of an uptrend. We do have more green. Let's see, scale this out a little bit here. Red's way up here. This is on a 15-minute chart. Probably have the zone. That's 50 pips. I like to see we want 50 pips in between the zones. So right now you can see we're right in the middle of this whole thing. This is this price right in this area is between. I look, come over here and see where the next highest pivot is. That's right here. Look at where the low is. Look, see where the next lowest pivot is. I like this area right here. Now we could possibly go with this range between here and here, but just not sure I want to do that. I usually like going from zone to zone. It is making new highs. It is in an uptrend. This would be the pullback in here. But from this room over, I'm going to draw my major fib lines from here so I can draw my targets. Taking from zone to zone. You see it came right up into the upper 23 and it retraced. So it's finding some sellers coming in at that level. Here's our targets, 3 targets to the downs, to this down move. There's a 50. Oops, I want to change the color on that. I'll tell you what, let me just, I'm going to just keep this orange right now since this is the higher time frame. Since I'm already there, a lot of times I use the orange for the higher time frame and then the blue for the lower time frame. I just don't like switching my colors back and forth, but since I'm already switched it, I don't do that. And I'll get my zone, my upper zones. Here's a
I
daily.
like the color of that a whole lot better, Al, than that bright blue.
You like the orange, do you?
No, your zone that you're drawing in right now, it's a whole lot easier on the eyes than the bright blue you were using before.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, I can see it a little bit better inside the zone too. I did find a way to customize the colors of these things. So there is a little customization ability. I just had to find it. So there's our upper zone, lower zone. I'm going to move my Fibonacci's now. I'm going to now get my, since I have my higher time frame zones set in there. Delete that. And now I'm going to be looking for the, get down to a 15-minute or 5-minute chart. So it came up and tagged the upper 25, pulled back. Now just we had to close below this orange line and a little bit of a pullback. All the moving averages are in the right direction. Let's go down to a 5-minute chart and see where that looks like. I think that's where, actually that's where we are. You see that the green is pulling back, but it has not crossed the yellow. Let's see what it does on the 1 minute. If it did it on the 1 minute, we want to wait. And we have a little green zone right there. You see where the 1 minute did cross over the yellow. Right now, this is in a pullback mode. It did cross over the arrow moving average on the 1 minute, but this is still going to be our main target area for the upside. Now, if this can come back down, now it did form a little zone right here off of this down move. This is a fairly strong little pullback right here. If you draw the Fibonacci's from here to here, you can see this is probably going to be a 78. This is going up into the upper 25% of this little move right here. We draw our fib lines to there. Oops, get my fibs. Where is it? There. See, it's just coming up, retesting this moving average right here. This is at exponential 62, this orange one, right? Coming up here, right on the orange line. Came up, tagged it. Starting to give it up a little bit. We could maybe get a little bit of a trade to the downside if the strength is there. Euro, Swiss. The Swiss is still strong to the euro. Not by a lot. So I'd like to see a little bit more of a spread on that one. Here's our trend line. We'll draw a trend line. If it comes up, bounces off the trend line. Anchor. Here's the hit. Here's that one. I like this one because this was more stronger. You see where it came up and hit this, rejected, came back up. I like this trend line right here where this hit, and here is a strong rejection. Came back up, couldn't make it. Pull back. Now the question is, I'd like to see it come up, and maybe if before I would take it short, I'd want to see it retest. I did retest this Fibonacci line, but I don't think we're going to have the room to the downside to the target zone, which would be down here. That's only 1 pip, or yeah, that's only 1 or 7. It's not even the spread. So you don't want to be doing that. This trend line does work. And I go to a higher time frame moving average at this point just to get a little bit stronger. Do you have a down arrow? Here's a second arrow down. That's significant. This one came up here, bounced, had a zone, bounced off the zone, came back, but it pulled back before we got the arrow. Pulled back before we got the arrow. It's not really bounced. It's not really a bag entry because it's not really bouncing off of anything. So.
What about a euro yen?
Euro yen? Should we take a look at that?
Although it's on 5 minute, I guess you must. Oh.
No, we can take a look at it right now. I'm not liking this. So it was a nice little move down. We'd probably use this area up here for the origin of the move to the downside. Came back up 50%, orange trade, orange line not quite a 50% pullback. It is in that 23 to 38 zone, though. It did come up to the 38, did not close below it. Close up. This could be a nice pullback zone right here. Let me finish this one up before I go to that euro yen there, Eva.
Okay.
Here's the 23% pullback. It did pull back up to the 38. So this zone is holding, this little zone is holding right here. This is the order. Look at this nice down move, came back up, retested that. But I just don't know if there's enough room to the downside. Here's your target. I'd like to see 15 pips. There's 6. There's 11. I'd like to see it come back all the way up here to the 70s. I'd like to see it retrace all the way back up to this level here before I would take it to, so I get my 15 pips. At least get to where I get 7 pips to the bottom where this last pullback was. I'd like to see pullback. Oh gosh, I'd like to see at least 10 pips. If I'm going to try and get 7, I want to give it at least 10 for the wiggle room. This would be, if it can come back, maybe if you want to try and take this, I'm not going to do it, but I may put a sell stop in right here below where the price is. Have it come up. If it keeps going up, you're still out. You're not in the trade. If it comes back and breaks through this one, you may be able to get. I'd like to see at least 7 pips to there, but that's only 3 pips. It's got to get up higher for me. I'd like to see it come up. If I can get this price to come on up to retest this area right here, the 61% retracement, then I can maybe take it. But you still want to try and get at least be profitable before it gets down to the lower end of where this last move was before it was. Because there were some buyers that came in here. That or some profit taking. I'm not sure which way it went. So we'll keep an eye on that one. And that was euro yen. Is that right, Eva, that you were looking at?
Yes, it was a euro yen. On the 5 minute, it popped up.
Euro.
It came up on the other alert system. It didn't show up on here.
Euro yen.
Oh.
There's a bounce. Yeah, a pullback before the arrow, right up into the zone. Well, there's not enough room for a zone, so it's not a bag entry.
No.
You only got 3 pips. You can expect a little bit of ranging prices till Friday's news. They said the first week of the month, there's a lot of consolidation, a lot of position taking. Plus, we're also getting into the summer months, and I think that's going to I think it's just going to be kind of a very tight range-bound summer trading, I think, is what we're going to be looking at here. Template, load, template. Redraw this. If you've been profitable all along for the last several weeks, please don't give it all back. Nice up move here above the moving averages. This is on the we're on a 30-minute here.
Yeah.
Let's go to 15. Let's see where the zone, if there's an upper zone here. Let's go to get up to higher time frame. There we go. We're in a red zone, 1 hour zone right in this area. Trying to break through the top of it. If it can break through that, let's see where else we can go. Anything else? Looks like we're hitting some long time highs as well. Let's look at a daily chart. Nothing. Weekly chart. We're in kind of a weekly daily zone right here. This is a weekly zone. If it breaks through this, the next stop on the line is going to be up here right around the 36.94 area. That's almost 200 pips away, 100 pips away. This could be a nice little swing trade if it can break through this zone. We got a level on top here. Euro yen. The yen is weaker to the euro. not by a significant amount. Let's mark this area. We need to mark this area so we know where it is. This is really the first zone that I've seen. It is breaking through some highs from last week. It's got a little bit of punch to it. Here's the origin of this move. This was the overnight. Here's the overnight move right here. Here's the money zone. Just trying to find the different tools in our toolbox to try and get an idea what this thing's going to do. There's the high of the overnight high, the body of the candle, the overnight high. Broke through here, retested the trend lines, or the moving average lines. Here's the overnight low. So right now it's sort of range bound in between there. It did break through on the upside. A little bit of a pullback right now. Strong move up, pull back. This is on a 15-minute chart. Since we don't have a target zone other than way up here at the top, nothing in the past that gives us, this looks like it's starting to do a little bit of a breakout here. So I'm going to take it from here to here. And see what it does. Euro should be stronger to the end. It's not overly aggressively strong. Again, I'd just like to see a little bit more confirmation, a little bit more commitment to it.
We've had a request to look at the gold again when you have time.
Oh, why not? Here's gold. It's still in the same zone. It's still, we do have a up arrow right up into this red zone, right up into the up. It's coming right up into the upper 25%. I mean, I say that if I were to trading this, I mean, here's a nice little. It broke the trend line. Did it really retest it? That's the question here. We do have a break of the 200. We still have some consolidation right in this area. Where's that trend line I had?
On a higher time frame, I think.
Surprised I'm trying to figure out why it didn't show up.
There it is.
Is this it right here?
Yeah.
Wow. It must have been a really higher time frame.
Yeah, I think it was the weekly.
Okay, yeah.
That's pretty high.
I guess, yeah, that's what it was. It was the weekly. The only time I go to weekly and daily charts is when I can't find anything on the upside. This is what time when was this? This was back in January. This is up. So it's starting to make new highs. It's time to retest the January highs. Well, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and redraw this from this was all the way back in June. Or is it no? Well, yeah, January of last year. This was January of last year. Just trying to see what it was doing from the year ago. Okay, so we know we have these zones right there. So let's go back to a 30-minute and see where that's sitting. That's right up in here. It did break the high from way back here on the 20. That was last week's high. It did break that. It is trending. I've been burned so many times with gold, I even hate to take a trade on it. But right now we had a bounce. I said we get an up arrow on we had the bounce off of this was almost like the bank induction move right here, this down arrow right into the zone. We can get an up arrow. There's our up arrow. You may take a shot at it, I guess, if you want to. We did get we have some consolidation. We're getting we have the green crossing over. We have everything starting to take form into the right order. It's not really quite there yet, but it's getting there. You have this little zone right here. I'd be looking at, I'd be respecting that one. This little area right in here. I'd be respectful of it. And you have lots of wicks right in here. This is kind of a wicky area right here. If you look at the big wick, a couple big wicks here, pull back, retested this area, pulled back. And it's kind of, right now it's kind of trying to retest this little area right in here. We actually have a level on the level here. This one, and then this one right here where this down arrow is. So if you're going to take this thing long, I wouldn't go for a whole lot. You get about a $9 move on that. Actually, no, about 90-cent move on that. I'd be respectful of these two zones right here. It may come up tested, pull back a little bit, see it will start trending. But right now we still have consolidation of all the moving averages. I have a 1 minute chart, see what that looks like. Got all these red zones right in here. Here's our level and level. This is the one that I drew. You can see there's a red arrow zone right between the two of them.
I like how the moving averages have aligned themselves on this time frame.
Yeah, this one's like this. Yeah, I like the moving averages on this one. Here's a low, here's a high, here's a lower high, or higher low, higher high, higher low, higher. So it's been trending. You have a couple waves right in there. It's a very gradual trend. Usually when I see like a real gradual trend like this, I'll see it come up and then just falls out and retest the origin. This was pretty much where it was sideways. This was where it fell apart. Here's where it's probably going to come up and retest. Right about where this down arrow is. If I even maybe move this thing down a little bit lower to where that. So I'm being respectful of this arrow right here. Here's where the arrow was alerted. It's coming right back up and see if it's going to retest the entry of where that arrow was generated. I see lots of reasons to take this thing long, but that's going to be a smooth ride to the top to it. You have to be willing to take some drawdown, I would believe. I'd be respectful of this pivot low from here to this pivot low right over here. I'd be respectful of this area. You may want to take a long, if you want to, I say maybe take a long from here, see if you can catch a few pips to the upside on this pullback. We are on a 1 minute chart right now, so We're not looking at a huge range here.
I have to say, I've always been told too by my gold mentor, always keep your take profit between 20 and 25 pips on gold. Nothing higher than that.
Is that like 25 cents then?
No, it's $2.50 at the most.
$2.50. Okay,
Yeah,
that would make
I'll
sense.
do a $2 move if I can get in low enough.
Yeah.
I am more conservative. I keep it at 20 pips. $2, that's it. I'm out.
Yeah. So right here to this trend line right now, that would be like a $2 move right to this trend line.
Yeah. Yeah. So the key is when you can get in after you've done your analysis, like Al, what you just said now, as it started to retrace on the previous candle, when it wicked down to the lowest part, if you would have gotten in there, $2 up, and I would have gotten out. Now see how this is, I don't know how much higher it's going to go at this moment. It eventually will go, in the direction, but can you stand the emotional inventory that goes along with it? If you want quick in and quick out, $2, that's it. Where are you getting?
No, so when you see like we had the major trend here, but you also had this like this little wick here. This is where it was trending. So what I'll do is oftentimes I'll draw a parallel trend line to form a channel, which is where you have this channel here. And then if it comes back into that channel, that'd be a good time to maybe try and take it possibly. And you also have the upper channel. You can see where these highs are starting to get higher highs. You can draw another little trend line. And if it stays inside this channel like this, you may want to just rethink it. But I mean, if it starts breaking through the channels, but there again is to the up. I mean, I like it when you have a pullback into a zone, comes back up, retail. I would be out of it by this point right now, especially knowing that this area is right up in here.
So what is the distance between those two, like in that channel?
This one?
Yeah.
$1.60.
$1.60.
$1.60.
And so it would have gone like $2 from the bottom.
You could maybe raise this up a little bit here with trying to catch as many of the wicks. Like here's a hit, and probably can catch this one over here. So there's 1, 2, 3. This channel's been somewhat valid, and now you see what it broke through the top of here, right up in the zone. Now it's falling back again. And that's another way of doing something. If it comes back down, retest this channel again, and can give you another close above it, and then maybe take another shot at this area. So that's $1.75. It's close to $2. But if you took this, if you were looking at this as a breakout, like here's a breakout, if you didn't take your profit up here, you're going to be in drawdown for a little while, especially if you tried catching in or saying, oh, this thing's breaking out, I'm going to hop onto this thing. That's what a lot of people just did. They saw this big move up. Oh, I'm going to jump in. Thing is going to go up higher because they didn't see these zones. At least we see these zones. Yeah. Right now, it came right up into that, came right up into this little area right where I have my shadow areas, which is right. This area just happened to be, you can see right where it, I just stopped it here, just randomly stopped it, but you can see that this zone did hold. Now it's coming back to retest there.
And this is what it does. This is what gold is notorious for. If you jump in it too late, it's going to eat you. You see how it popped up? I bet you that's about a $2 move from the candle prior to it and bounced right back down again. And now you can sit in there and draw down waiting. So, you know what I mean?
$2.52.
There you go. No more than, you don't want to go any more than that.
See now it's breaking out the bottom of this.
Exactly. And this is what gold does. That's what you all need to be aware of. Gold will, you just got to be so careful with it. So my advice as well, when you're trading gold, the 1 minute chart is the way to go. As much as I normally do not like trading the 1 minute, but for gold, you got to, because your entry and your take profit is more precise on the 1 minute. Like you get in it at a proper time compared to on a 5 minute.
No, everybody likes to trade gold. I don't know what it is about gold that people like to trade it.
Well, because you can make really good money at it, but you have to know what you're doing because you can lose really good money at it too.
Yeah, my biggest losses last month were trading gold and also the S&P index. Not one, taking too big a position, and I gave it the wiggle room that I felt it needed, but it was more wiggle room than I was comfortable with. And so those are my two biggest losses last month, were the trade in gold. It was still a profitable month for me, but those two indexes, those two entities ruined my performance a little bit. Let's see what's how our index is doing. Nothing much here. Let's see what the German 30 is doing. It's probably still making new highs. I'd say looking at that was just trying to buy some pullbacks on the German 30. It hasn't really pulled back on the 5-minute chart. It's been pretty tight range right now. Between there, that's only let's see, 15,685. It's only a $10. It's basically ranging about $10. It's a 5-minute chart. So you've got a little red zone right there. There's a bounce arrow but we're going right into this zone that it pulled back. Let's see, the euro. If the euro is strong, then this thing should start pulling. I would want to trade this with a weak euro dollar is what I'd like to trade that with. And the dollar and the euro is getting, it's right in the middle of the pack right now. If you look and see where the euro is, get my chart up here, you can see it. The euro is right in here, right in the middle, right in the middle, right in the middle. So that if you're looking at the German 30, I'd look at the euro. If I look at the UK 100, I look at the British, or I look at the S&P, I'm looking at the US dollar. When they're stronger, when the euro is stronger, that means the exports are getting more expensive. Therefore, that's my theory. I don't know if it works or not. It seems to make some sense. But usually when I'm trading the German 30, I want to see if I'm trading it to the upside, I want to see a weak euro. If I'm trading it to the downside, I want to see a strong euro. Right now, the euro is right in the middle, so I'm just going to stay away from it. No real clear direction on that. Plus, we have this little zone right here. If the euro starts getting strong, it is working its way up the ladder here a little bit. It has got a little bit stronger. If it can break through this, I may be able to take a shot to the next green zone. Possibly that's 73 to, that's about $13 or 13 euro move if it breaks through this little green zone. We do have came up here, made the zone, pulled back, got a bounce a little bit. Here's the high, here's a little bit lower high. So we got a little bit of a trend off of this. Here's our origin of the move. Let's see, boy, I don't know that really. Boy, it's tempting to take this thing short right now, but with this little break, I like this little bounce arrow go on the 1 minute. I would be looking at, it did break a trend. Here's a low, here's the pivot. Here's the first leg up. Here's our M right in here. Here's our leg up. Here's our left, that's our left shoulder. There's the right shoulder. Here's the bottom of the M, the right shoulder. And now if we can get a breakthrough here, this zone just went away. Let's see where fibs are. I'm going to take this thing short. I'll take a shot at this one. It broke the zone. We got a down arrow. Not going to go right for a whole lot. And I'd probably take it to, it's breaking the 76 or 61. Here's our lower 25% off of this move right here. So it's coming into that area.
Look at that move.
And I'll see if it comes down into like this 88.2 area. I'll probably take my profit here. And that'd be $5. It's $5 move. Or 5 units. The way to draw this is somewhat subjective. Do you want to take it from the last move up, or you want to take it from this? It should be first wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Here's our M. It's your choice where you want to take it from this point, or if you want to take it down from this point. This is the 61.8 right here. So then that would move this whole area. I move my 21% area down. That moves it down to here. That makes it a little bit nicer target, especially to the screen zone. All the moving averages still in the right direction. You can probably look at using it for your stop, of keeping your stop above the arrow moving average, which is this blue line. Just follow it down, see what you can get out of it, but don't get greedy. So right now it's testing the 61. If it closes below the 61, I think if it can't close below that 61%, I'll just pull this trade and wait for a retracement.
I'd be just about getting out of this one now. My targets for the German 2 is a $5 move from entry point, and I'd rather do 3 of those and keep bagging it than.
There's a close below 61. I'm just going to take my profit right here. Boom, done.
There you go.
I like the fact it closed below the 61%. Basically, we had this move up. Here's our M. And right now, if we look at this for an M, and this is the left leg of the M, I like this as a area where I'm going to be looking for a possible higher low. And that's where this is right now. Now, it did close below the 61, which gives you the 678, 76 as the target, but now we're coming right into this is our 76% retracement off of this move here. I would expect to see this thing bounce off of this, out of this area. I got the close below the 61, does give me rise to think it's going to hit the 76.4 area. That would be the target. This would be the target zone. That would be your target. If it can't touch that and comes back, retraces over, this thing's probably going to start reversing, and that would be the pullback, the big pullback off of this. But here's your M. So here's your M. And I mean, it could all go way down here too for all that now, but we have this zone right here. I like drawing the fibs from zone to zone. That's my first preference. When I see I can find this little M formation, then I'm looking at this for the overall expansion target, especially with the fact this thing is in an uptrend, and it has been. When it makes new highs and you get this nice little pullback, it's a contra trend trade. But you see it's coming right back into this. It's struggling right in this little area right in here, which is that lower 25% we talk about.
So we've also had a request, Al, if you could have a look at the euro yen.
Euro yen, I think we can do that. We'll keep an eye on this, see how far this thing goes. I'm just going to mark this here, and I'll go to the euro yen down there. I'm just going to mark this point where this is our area of interest right there.
So how many pips did you manage to grab out of that German move?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Me?
Yes, you.
Let's see, what did I get off of that? Custom period. See what my weekly, I didn't do anything yesterday because it was a holiday. And I was able to get, dollar-wise, I get in at 73, and I got out at 68.75. So 73 and a quarter to 68, so 69,
Like 450.
450.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Good job. And then you see how
If
it
you,
swells
if you
out?
get anywhere, if you can get $4 to $5 on an index move,
Yeah.
I said one thing keep in mind, and I said I have to. What I've started doing is I started pulling up these index charts and getting my sell buy orders set here first, because almost everything else I trade, I'm doing like a 0.5. With the indexes, I have to take about a tenth of that. So rather than doing a 0.5, I do a 0.05. That keeps me a little bit more out of harm's way with overtrading this thing. It's nice to get those big moves in the right direction with a higher lot size, but it is also what will eat your lunch if you're in the wrong direction.
It goes
So,
moving, it's melting down.
yeah. So what was the other one there, Eva, that you're looking
The euro yen, please.
for? Euro yen. 15 minute. We'll start with 15 minute and then we'll go
Yeah,
from
I'm
there.
estimating 15.
Euro yen. Oh, there we go. Up. It looks like a little bit uptrend at net moving averages. Template load. And let's see here. Where we have for our zones. I'm on a 15-minute chart. I'm not seeing any upper zone. Let's go to a higher time frame. Let's go to a 30. Pull it back, see if there's any zones up above. Nothing yet. Let's go to a 1 hour. Boom, there we are. We are in a 1 hour zone right now. If it breaks through that, we are in an uptrend. It is trying to break through, and this zone has been held. This is this is Tuesday, this is Sunday, Monday, here's Friday. It made this high back last Thursday, and it was going sideways all Friday, then all this week. So right now, this is in a sideways trend, sideways mode, with no particular uptrend here. So on this one, this would be the next zone that we'd be looking at. That we'll go mark that just so we have a reference. I always like to know where my target zone is. I don't care how high it is or how far away it is. I want to know where it is. So I'm going to mark that. At least now I have a target I can use. Go back to my 30-minute. There's my target. Because there's a target out there someplace. Unless it's at making new highs, then it's a whole different ballgame. Let's see. Moving averages are on the right direction. We've got the bounce, have a zone right here. Here's a high. We have a higher close. I like this pullback. The fact we're so far to the upside for this upper zone, I'm going to draw my fib from here to here and look for the expansion to the upside. So I'm going to draw it from, I'm just going to take it from, I'm just taking it from the bottom of the zone since I can't see where the wicks are. All right, here it is. There's the, right now it's in the upper 25%. It had a pullback to the 50. So from where this zone was, well, actually we have another little zone. Well, that's the money zone right in here. So this was the overnight. Here's a trend line. Let me expand this out a little bit. So right now we're in the money zone for today's money zone. Here is the money zone. We don't talk about the money zone too much because it's not usually, doesn't seem to have a lot of effect during our time frame, but we have to kind of respect where here was the overnight high. It broke out, came back, retraced. It's looking to make new highs. And we're looking at the euro yen. Let's look at the euro yen for this. The euro yen, that's pretty much even. Euro is stronger to the yen. Euro is stronger to the yen. I'd like to see a split of 3. I only have 2. Euro yen, again, only a split of 2. Euro yen, split of 1. Euro yen, split of 2. So I'd like to see 3. We may not get it on this one. And maybe if it breaks to the top of where the money's, this was the overnight high. And we had the pullback. Draw our zones. Here's the 38. Here's our 50. Here's our 61. Here's our upper zone right in this area. We're in the upper 25% right now. If it can break through, we had the pullback, nice pullback to the 50% pullback. And so this would be the zone, the target zone would be up here. I'll be looking at the fact that this thing pulled back to the 50. I'll be looking at the 50 to the 38 for right this area or a target. But it's got to break. And if I can do, if it breaks through there, we have 15 pips. So we have 15 pips. I can get my 7 pips out of that for my target zone. But we got to break the top of where this pullback was. And we may just have a little wedge just developing here. So if we go to a, let's go to a 5-minute chart. So you have a little red zone that popped in up there. Here's our upper 25%. It's inside of that area right now. And the question is, how deep is it going to go? Here's the 11.8% retracement. So it's coming. So right now we have a little bit of a trend going from here's our high. We have to respect that. Here's the origin, pulled back, come back up. We have a bottom trend. So I'm going to see where was the price rejected, right to this area. Where was it started? Right over here. Take this pivot, move this over here. There's my bottom trend line. I'll allow one violation of the trend. Here's the anchor. Here's the pivot. Little violation. And you could also go with, take it a little bit lower, take it all the way down to this one. Actually, for starters, that's probably the better way to go from here. So here's the, actually had this pivot right there. And this one wasn't broken. This was, the trend line was broken, but the price wasn't. See, the trend line got broken here. It was retest. This was a trap right here. We had a nice little trend, moved up, pull back. Here's a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, big move up, retest, came back down, retested this. It came back, retested this pivot, but you can see the price here is higher than where this was. Even though it broke the trend line, it couldn't break through this pivot. The fact that that's what happened with that, I'm just going to pull this back down to using this as the next relative trend here. And then we have this upper part. So right now it's making highs, higher lows, and lower highs. Right now, here's our wedge right in here. Here's our high. Here's a high, came up into the 88% retracement, rejected it. Came back up again, it's rejected it again. This is the second rejection of that. So I'm going to use this as a valid trend right there. Here's my wedge. And right now it's trading inside this range. Couldn't go drop below this. And let's see here. I'm going to take this pivot here and I'm going to make a parallel. So what I'm seeing right now is it's coming into this lower channel, being rejected, but it's only is going to go up as high as this. Here was another upper trend. It couldn't hold that. It's making newer lows. So right now this thing's consolidating right now. It doesn't know which way it wants to go. And right now the euro is getting stronger. Now, as to the yen, which means it does have upward pressure, but not enough to break it up higher into here. Right now, with the euro being stronger, if you go to the euro is getting stronger to the yen. Still only have a 2-point spread. Here on this one, this is a retracement type of point. This is a 5-minute chart. I look at this more of a retracement standpoint. It is getting stronger here. 2-point spread, 2-point spread, 2-point spread. Nothing real conclusive. Go back to my chart. Still favor the euro to the upside. So I'd be looking at buying the pullback. But if I'm going to buy a pullback, I want to have a nice target area. That's only 6 pips to the red zone. And you know this has been rejected twice right now. So right now you really have no trade at all. Not until it breaks out of, and if it breaks out of, the further it gets over here, the higher this trend comes up, the higher this trend comes up and breaks through that, the better your target is over here. Today you would have like a 13 pip target. So basically, if I were to look at this for a target, I want to see that I want to be able to get in with at least a 15 pip move, which is going to put me right about up here to the 11.8 area. So if, like when this thing came up to 11, you can see where this respect to the 11.8, this respect to the 11.8. If it can come up in here, pull back and close below the 11.8, then maybe you could take a shot at maybe taking it short. And then using the above this zone for your target. But in order to take it short, you got to get the euro to get weaker. Yeah, Japanese yen getting stronger. Right now, everything is not in order. It's not in the right. It's not giving you the right picture. So right now, nothing to do with this one. That's one way how you can sort of eliminate. Do you have room to your target? And is the price action picture what you want to be seeing in order to take it in the direction you want to take it? Moving averages are wrong to take it short. The strength of the euro is wrong to take it short. And you can see it's that several rejections. It's right at the upper part of the move. And right now there's no real, right now it'll just be a gamble of rolling the dice which way it's going to go. And you don't really have the range from here to here. You've got 13 pips. Oh, so you got 2 pips. You have 2 pips. There's 3 pips. If it breaks the top of this trend line, breaks, comes back, closes above, and takes the upside, you only have about 2 pips before you're going to get whipsawed. Or you're going to have to wait for the breakthrough. If it breaks through, you have a good shot to the upside, up to this. If it can break through this red zone, here's your target. But right now, you just don't know. It's a guess which way it's going to go. So you can keep your eye on it. I would recommend doing that because it might be something there. Let's see, where are we at here? Oh, we're almost done with our time here. We've got the Tuesday. I think Jackie should be in the room today, Tuesday at 9 o'clock, which is in about another 5 minutes. I think we're just going to wrap it up here. If there's any last minute questions, anybody have any questions, comments?
No, there's nothing. Everything's been out with.
We're able to get one trade today. One trade a day. We'll keep the creditors away.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, with that, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Let you guys be able to take a break, get logged into the next Arrow session, and we'll see you again tomorrow, same time, 7:30 to 9. See you then.
See you all tomorrow, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, Eva.
All right. Thanks, Al.